A jet slices through black clouds at 35,000 feet. Lightning forks across the windshield. The cockpit shakes so hard the flight manuals jump off their clips. Autopilot trips. The alarms scream. In that instant the pilot, have 9 seconds to decide whether 278 souls will meet the sunrise, or the sea. Would you freeze, or fly? Welcome to my channel. Today we're diving into the sky to learn English through a real-life story of fear, focus, and a choice that changed hundreds of lives. Listen closely, every phrase you hear is a new piece of vocabulary, every moment a lesson in courage you can borrow for your own journey. I'd logged more than 7,000 flight hours, but that night over the North Atlantic felt new. The weather radar had warned us of turbulence, yet no one expected a supercell to bloom directly on our route. Pause. Picture a giant, invisible fist squeezing the airplane so tight the metal groans. "Captain, we're in the red," my first officer said, voice steady but eyes wide. We throttled back, but the airspeed still spiked. Wind shear, horizontal bursts that can flip an aircraft like a coin, hit us left, then right. I breathed in through my nose, out through my mouth. On the radio, Gander Control offered a diversion. Turning back meant a 3-hour DT and a fuel calculation so thin it frightened even me. 11 years earlier, in flight school, an instructor had whispered over the engine noise, "Your mind is the real aircraft. Fly it first." Back then I dismissed it as poetry. Tonight it felt like physics. Now zoom out, imagine your own life storm. Different clouds, same chaos. What's the biggest storm you've faced? Drop one word for it in the comments, and let's see how many different skies we share. Fear is useful. It floods us with adrenaline, sharpening vision and reaction time. But the same hormone can flood decision-making circuits. A 2019 MIT study shows cognitive capacity drops 20% under acute stress. That means a pilot who normally juggles 10 variables can barely manage 8. I felt the deficit creeping in, so I did something counterintuitive. I sang. Just one bar of an old jazz tune. The rhythm nudged my breathing into a slower pattern. Heart rate fell. Brain bandwidth returned. Avert, to turn away. We could avert disaster by climbing. Mitigate, to make less severe. We could mitigate risk by slowing down. Commit, to decide fully. You can't half-land an airplane. Flash frame, bold white text on black, choose or lose. I called for climb power. Engines roared. The aircraft clawed upward through hail as loud as gravel in a dryer. I secreted on the wipers, the de-ice boots flexed like dragon skin. At 37,000 feet the storm thinned. The sky ahead opened like theater curtains, moonlight draping the ocean in silver. The first officer exhaled a laugh, part relief, part awe. We had escaped, but fuel was now an issue. The dash display showed a yellow range arc shrinking fast. We'd make Paris, barely. Engagement moment 2. Think of a time you beat one problem only to meet another. Type Shift if life ever surprised you that way. Your story may lift someone else tonight. Hours later, safely on the ground, operations told me a passenger wanted to speak. A young woman stepped into the jetway holding a folded paper crane. She'd felt the plane drop, prayed, and promised if she survived she'd finally apply to med school. "You kept us alive," she said, pressing the crane into my palm. I wish I could say I accepted her thanks like a hero. Truth is, I was still shaking from the fuel report. But her words reminded me of another term, ripple effect. One brave act creates waves unseen. 1. Breathe before you decide. Oxygen is fuel for the mind. 2. Name the options. Vocabulary clarifies choices, choices create action. 3. Accept the trade-offs. Climb and burn fuel, or divert and burn time, life's equations always balance somewhere. 4. Trust the training you build today. Knowledge is a parachute you pack long before you need it. Static flash, heartbeat sound, then silence, let the words sink in. Quick review, for English learners. Avert, turn away. Mitigate, reduce harm. Accrete, build up gradually. Ripple effect, spreading impact of one action. Say them aloud. Feel how each consonant lands like gear on a runway. 6 months after that flight, I received a postcard from Paris. The paper crane girl had started med school. Your calm saved my chaos, she wrote. I pinned the card above my desk, a reminder that turbulence is temporary, but the stories you write with your choices can outlive you. Engagement moment 3. Which lesson will you pin above your desk? Let the community know, it might become someone's lifeline. And if this story lifted you, share it with one person wrestling a storm today. Descending audio whoosh, screen fades to sunrise over clouds, hope after darkness. Every cockpit, classroom, or kitchen table can become a flight deck if you treat each decision as a chance to climb. Keep breathing, keep learning, and keep choosing altitude over attitude. If you found value here, hit like, subscribe, and join me next time for another story that teaches English while fueling your ascent. Until then, keep your wings level and your words lifted.